Hey everyone, this is Coach Yani Moya and I'm a transformational life and finance coach. Welcome to Quarter Life Bliss. This is a podcast dedicated to disrupting the quarter life crisis mindset, spreading bliss and happiness to all listeners. My mission is to inspire possibilities, taking away the fear of going through your 20s and to crisis-proof your quarter life. At 25, I'm very happy to share that I'm living a life of purpose, successfully content and happy even as I evolve with the times. These lessons, tips, and insights I now share with all of you, in the hopes that you too will find your quarter life bliss, whatever your age and circumstances. Welcome back to the podcast, and today we have a very special guest. Sobrang busy niya but she made time for this, and I got to know this person last year, lockdown, because of the lockdown also. So ito yung mga nabuong friendship because of lockdown. I got to work with their cast from Descendants of the Sun, and nakikita niyo naman napakaganda niya po today. Kaya kailangan ko talaga mag-ayos kasi syempre no, ang ganda ng guest. More than just an artista. She's a mental health advocate. Let's all welcome Jasmine Curtis.
Hello. Hello to everyone listening to the podcast. And thanks for having me, Annie.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for saying yes again and again sa akin. Sa lahat na lang sa lahat ng invitation ko talaga nag-yes ka. Kaya super na-appreciate ko because you believe in the things that I do.
We have to support each other. You know, I think ano ko yan hilig ko talaga when I can see someone passionate about what they're doing, tas iimbitahin ako to be part of it. Ang saya kasi maging involved. Alam mo yon, parang kunwari like with first time directors, ganun din ako. Parang first time nagagawa pelikula, okay. Tapos paano kaya yon? Let's see, let's journey with them, 'di ba?
Oo. Yun nga thank you for kahit nasabi ko nga sa'yo kanina before we started. This is just a small time podcast, but you're saying yes to it. Kaya I'm very blessed. You're taking a chance on me. And I think yun yung importante when people start to believe in you. You actually, alam mo yun, get a push to really continue doing, 'di ba? And last year, kapag ganun sa akin, I started my live stream because he started believing din in in my live streams. And ngayon, 1 year na ako nagla-live stream. And it all started because of you. Ayan.
Wow, it started because of you.
Wow. Thank you, Jasmine. So, yan, just like what I said, it's kasi ngayon, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Yan, 'di ba? So, very timely itong ating topic for today. And I know na-share mo na sa akin yung story mo behind your why you became a mental health advocate. But I also wanna know, maybe share with us a little bit background about your mental health journey.
Sure, no worries. So for those of you that may have never heard my story or ever heard me speak about my mental health journey, it started at a very young age na I wasn't aware of it yet. Obviously, a lot of us, pag mga bata pa tayo, alam natin ang mga emotions natin, happy, sad, no? Pero at that time, I was experiencing changes in my life na hindi mo dapat na-experience. So they say as a kid, So, inaccept ko lang yon all throughout my teenage years. And then when I approached my 20s, that's when it really started to settle. That's when I started to think about it more, look for reasons, look for understanding behind all of these scenarios na nangyari sa buhay ko. And hindi siya directly sa akin nangyari. Parang kumbaga, collateral damage in what happened. So, even the more you feel like at your 20s, you feel like, I couldn't even have done anything to fix the situation, and you feel helpless. So you start to feel like, was I a useless part of the equation or the family? And then you feel depressed because, all of those teenage years, nakinip ko siya, I let it be pent up inside of me. In my 20s, dun siya lumabas. And, nag-start ako mag-lash out with people around me, even the people that I work with. I became very difficult. Talagang parang makikipag-usap ka lang about some small problem and para sa'yo, nagiging malaking problema na. And this is not far from now. I'm 27, but kailan lang mga to nangyari? When I was 24, 23. It started when I was 18, when I first moved out, na talagang nag-act out ako. And when I was 18, that was when I first encountered a psychologist. I was recommended to a psychologist, and I was diagnosed with mild anxiety but severe depression. So it was really, really difficult to cope at that time because you don't know what it is. And nung panahon yan, 2012, I think nagsisimula pa lang talaga yung talks
awareness.
Oo eh. Oo. As
Hindi
in,
pa masyado, no?
Hindi pa. And I remember, Yanni, going up, going to school in Oz, na doon, mas napag-uusapan na siya, no? Pero hindi pa rin siya ganung ka normal or natanggal yung taboo. So, nahihiya din ako to share it with my friends or my cousin. And hanggang sa lumipat na ako dito, I forgot to go back to my psychologist. And then I started again when I noticed how I was behaving. And it didn't, it wasn't fixed in the span of however many months na I went back to a psychologist. Na-prolong pa rin siya. And even up to this day, actually, I'm still working on my mental health. I'm still seeing a psychiatrist now. But I call her my healer. I like to call her my healer because parang di naman sa may bad connotation or my bad attachment sa words or sa terms na psychologist, psychiatrist. But I just like the feeling of calling this person my healer because it feels like I'm attracting the healing towards me. So, yun. So that's where I'm at right now. From my early 20s na I started to really address the issue. I've been able to confront a few people in my life and in my family that I would be too afraid as a child. These are people that you should be looking up to or learning from. So it feels empowering to have that opportunity. So it's a never-ending journey, I feel, for everyone. But we get stuck. I got stuck for a while sa feeling ko na, but I talked to someone na, so I should be okay. So,
okay.
Na-stuck din ako doon for a while, yan.
So parang dumating ka din pala sa point na akala mo, okay, once I see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I'll be better. And I should be better. But
yes.
But at the time hearing is it's a never-ending journey. So until now, no, continuous siya.
Continuous siya kasi every day, diba, when you encounter new people, you pick up new
energies,
behavior, energies, and then ikaw din, you're like, oh my God, how do I return the energy? Pareho ba? Like, nabastusan ako doon. Magagalit ba ako? Or, it's all these small things. You think it's just a small thing, but really it contributes to your wellness. So parang this morning, actually, I was talking to someone who I love dearly, and parang she was telling me that this was happening, and I tried to provide a different opinion kasi family and parang ayaw makinig ng family member. So I said, okay, but have you tried it? And then she said, no. And I just don't think parang it's worth it, And sa akin, as a family member, you came to me, you asked for my help. This is my advice, or, this is what I can help you with. You said no. Okay, no problem. But then don't tell me it's not useful, it's not helpful, because in my perspective, I feel like this will be helpful for you. So it's knowing to protect yourself then, your energy. So hindi ako nagalit, hindi ako nainis sa kanya, hindi ako anything. I just said, oh, okay, sige. No worries then. But do what you think will be best for you. And
Gusto ko yun.
Not me.
Diba? Gusto ko yun, yung unattachment mo to whether or not this person will take in your advice, diba? And sometimes kasi yung mga tao, hindi pa nila alam yon, yung art of unattachment. I call it the art of unattachment, wherein you give your advice but you're not, alam mo yung mga friends mo na kunwari gusto na makipag-break sa jowa. Tapos bibigyan mo ng advice tapos yung makikinig sa'yo. Parang nagtanong ka pa.
Mismo, diba? Yeah.
So, the art of unattachment is not being attached to kung take in nila yung opinion mo. Kasi the thing is, yung ibang tao, pwede nilang possible na questionin nila yung worth nila because wala bang kwenta yung binigay kong advice? Wala ba akong kwentang friend because hindi ko siya matulungan? Yung mga ganyan. Ayan. So, I wanna know, since ang mental health is, or ang breakdowns and breakthroughs, parang it goes hand in hand, no? I wanna know, with your journey, okay, it's a continuous journey right now, but what is, or how did your breakdowns help you to break through in your life?
I think my breakdowns allowed me to just feel, allowed me to carry the weight, let myself feel the weight, and then parang literally break down. Like physically let yourself break the weight down so that the weight will fall off you. And when the weight falls off from you, doon ako na-empower to find the breakthrough. So for example, I'll give this quick anecdote. My dad and I, we've not always had the best relationships, but I love him so much. And same goes back ways naman. Wala kaming problema, pero meron kaming mga issues, I grew up with him in a different family, so that took a mental toll on me as a child. But it wasn't as if I didn't accept that he had a different family. It just, you had lots of questions growing up. So parang you're like, oh, bakit hindi ako yung anak na inaalagaan? Bakit may iba siyang anak? Bakit may iba siyang asawa? Yung mama ko yung asawa niya. You start to ask all these things. But, I never asked him. In all of my teenage years, in my early 20s, the only time I got to ask him was, I think, Feb of last year, or if not, 2019. So I was 25. But I already had these questions at the age of 14. So parang those 9 years or 10, 11 years that I waited, I would cry so many nights and so many days wondering every Father's Day, oh my God, like, do I greet him? Is he even my father? Yung emotera talaga. So,
talaga.
So, it was only when he was encountering some family problems with his current family, he came to me and I took him in and I said, until you guys cool things down, you can stay here. And then there was a point where, my dad's in his late 70s. So usually, there's a tendency for some people at that age to kind of get stuck or go back to their teenage way of thinking, or, nagiging reminiscing na sila of their old days. So parang he became like a teenager of some sort when it came to the problem. And I remember confronting him and addressing him and saying, oh my gosh, you're my father. I don't know what to do in this scenario. I cannot stand as a parent for you here because, in those times that I didn't know where to run, I had to confront it myself and I had to father myself or depend on my mother to father me. And I didn't say that to offend him. I didn't say that para iduro sa mukha ng dad ko na wala ka doon. No, I didn't do that. I did that because I needed for him to know and I needed for him to feel also what I felt. And even if hindi niya maramdaman yung weight, even if hindi niya maramdaman yung pain, at least on my end, I was able to release it and encounter that, okay, hindi ko na siya bitbit. Wala na
Correct.
akong hinanakit. Alam mo yon, parang, it's crazy, Annie, that it happened 2 years ago. And in the last 2 years, ang sarap ng relationship ko with my dad. When I call him, when we have misunderstandings, gets niya. So, that was my breakthrough. Kasi prior to that, parang, I would always just feel like, ako, wag, kasi tatay ko yan, I can't do that. Like, he brought me into this world, he paid for my schooling, like, how can I do that
Baka
to him? How
masira
can
yung
I question him?
relationship.
But,
Ganyan.
yeah. But then, ikaw yung masisira kapag hindi mo in-address. Yung heart mo, yung mind mo, diba? And the way you treat that person too will forever be influenced by that either trauma or misunderstanding or whatever weight that you carry. So, use that breakdown to see where you can have a breakthrough. Minsan hindi naman yan magkasunod, diba? Ako, that's what I did, and it took me years. 10 years of breaking down, and then here comes year 11, breakthrough. Woohoo! So, might be shorter for most of you. Might be shorter.
And this episode is gonna be a reminder for them, that if they have those kinds of relationship wherein ang heavy right now, they can actually start to address it and fix it and get into that breakthrough.
Yes, exactly. Especially with parents. Like if any of you listening or watching can relate to my story, one of your parents might have, moved on with a different family, built a new family, just know that I'm sure there's also pain in that parent's heart to see you get left behind. Not left behind, but diba, not to be physically present with each other. It's painful for everyone in the journey. So it just takes one person to confront or to get that closure, that breakthrough.
And I think, it's more of, if you're coming from love and respect when you approach the person, diba, sabi mo naman, hindi mo naman sinabi para i-offend siya, hindi mo naman sinabi para ipamukha na wala siyang kwenta. No, you just really love and respect this person and your relationship that you're willing to, talk it over and fix it.
Diba kasi usually people think when you talk it over, if you address the problem, they think, oh my God, naghahanap ng away. Ba't hindi tayo naghahanap ng away?
Sa Pinas. Ganyan sa Pinas eh.
Diba? Just wanna close it na, kumbaga. Wag na nating ma-address na.
Kumbaga, yun nga sabi mo, put the weight down. Kumbaga, kung umaakit ka ng bundok, baba mo na yung mabigat na bag na hindi mo naman kailangan, di ba? Diba?
Laman lang pala ng bag mo, high heels. Mag-hiking ka. Diba?
Tama. Actually, totoo, no, na hindi naman nare-realize. Akala nila, ay, kailangan kong i-carry to hanggang tuktok. Hindi eh. It will actually be easier for you to get to where you wanna go if you let go of all of these bags.
Agree.
Yun. So, right now, with this story, how did you become a mental health advocate?
I think it was like 2014 or 15 when I first joined a talk about mental health. And I remember I got the email. I was going through a rebellious stage of my professional life. And I was accepting emails, and I got a proposal to join a talk to share about my mental health. And I remember it being such a taboo that my management at the time, ayaw nila na pag-usapan ko siya. Ayaw nila na sabihin ko I have depression or anxiety, or even call it anything related to my mental health or a mental illness. I mean, there's a whole spectrum kasi, diba? But here in our country, sadly, ang nakikita lang nila sa spectrum ng mental illness is the really severe ones, like schizophrenia, PTSD, multiple personality disorder. But, we tend to forget the anxiety, the depression, all of the extreme ones stem also from here. So, at the time, I felt like if my management doesn't want me to be open about this, how can I accept myself? How can I allow this truth to happen to me? Because then I would be fighting my depression. Then I would be, ano yun, parang, I wouldn't be acknowledging that it's present in my life. So, hindi ko siya ma-address. And then, I joined one of the talks that emailed and inquired. And from then on, I was like, you know what? I don't care if my management says yes or not. I'm gonna make sure pag may nag-email sa akin to join talks like this, I'll be there. I will be able to share my story kasi ayoko nang may mga ka-age ko growing up na hindi alam saan pupunta to talk about this. Or na may magsasabi sa kanila, wag, akalain lang nila, nabaliw ka, or ganyan-ganyan ka. That stigma. So, I wanted to get rid of that. And so I just started joining talks. And then eventually I started seeing more and more celebrities joining. I'm so happy. I'm really happy that we can all be, voices for this.
And I love how you stood up for yourself and for the millions of people you can impact. Kasi you don't know diba? Remember yung live stream natin last year, ang daming sobrang nagbagong buhay just because of 2-hour live stream, diba?
Grabe. Yeah, exactly. And this is what empowers us to keep going, especially now that you have a new platform, right? Like, I'm sure before you started this new podcast, it was like, okay, you know what? I feel like so many people will want to listen, or will need this too. I need this, and if I will need this, then someone else out there will also need that.
That's true. Kasi yun sa akin naman, it's quarter life bliss, because I feel like a lot of people in our age,
Yes,
experience and go through quarter life crisis. And sabi ko, bakit ganon? Feeling ko hindi ko naman talaga siya na-experience. I'm very blessed, no? And I want people to change and disrupt that kind of mindset that you have to go through crisis when you're at your mid-20s. Diba? Pwede namang quarter life bliss yan eh. So, we turned that mindset through this podcast. That's why it started it. And that's true. You never know, kahit isang tao lang. I always say that kahit dyan sa mga interns ko, na parang even if isa lang yung makinig, okay lang. I will still continue doing it.
Yeah. On that note, recently I caught up with a friend bago ako pumasok sa bubble nito. And she was a friend that I also worked with. I had a lot of ups and downs with, as in super dami, and both in work and personal. And it was only recently, after over a year na hindi kami nag-uusap, nagkita, obviously with the lockdown, I finally reached out, and then, sabi ko sa kanya, I love seeing your posts about yoga and your mental state right now, your enlightenment. Sabi ko kasi every day when I see you post that, it reminds me, oh my gosh, me too. I have to do that for myself too. And I think that's exactly it, Yanni. If someone listens to this, and every time you release something, they look forward to it, and then they themselves, diba, sila din in their own communities will give the same type of energy, or do it. Kung hindi man sila yung mag-lead, sila yung maggagawa, sila yung mag-implement. So, yeah, it's not a quarter life crisis. Make it into a quarter life bliss.
It's a journey. It's a journey. And thank you for reminding me that, because sometimes parang, I also get, yung parang I also stop myself from posting. Sabi ko, baka wala man makinig. Pero actually, isang tao lang ang mag-message, and you are ultimately reminded why you started something.
Yes.
Diba? Why you went against your management to start talking about mental health.
Exactly talaga. I mean, doing this today, you wouldn't have known. If I never did that, you wouldn't have known. And maybe we wouldn't have been in touch after our descendants little gig. You know what I mean? So it really evolves us all.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving on, no? Because we have a lot of questions. But before my questions, galing sa ating Instagram story, one of the things I want to ask is, how can you have, or what are the best habits for you to be in a better mental state?
Habits. Okay. So I love the word habit because there is so much power in it. And it only takes your willpower every day to make something a habit. So I read this book. I read this book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. So if you guys want to check it out, I think I must have recommended this before in our past live streams, Yani. But dito ko kasi natutunan yung mga alam ko na ngayon. And so what I do is I have a routine every day. Not for work, because my work is ever changing, but if I can have a routine with where I wake up and where I put my head to rest, then I am able to see how I can plan my day, right? And when you can plan your day, you can immediately see, okay, what energy do I need to distribute here? How much of myself do I need to give today? And then that becomes a behavioral habit for you. Kasi even like, for example, when nag-lock-in ako, sabi ko, ano gagawin ko dito? Oh my God, yung habit ko sa bahay, na magdilig ng garden, tapos after nun, magawa ng breakfast, like wala, it's gone, scrap. The only part of my routine here is the habit of making my bed and exercise. So, dinadagdagan ko siya as I go along. Okay, exercise, tapos na 1 hour. Ano gagawin ko? Dagdag ulit ang exercise. Okay, and then later I read a book. Or, it's the habit of making a schedule will help you keep your thoughts in check. The habit of writing down your thoughts when you're getting clouded. That will allow things to be put into perspective, and also ma-identify mo. Kunwari, I was feeling separation anxiety, or so I thought before I came into lock-in. When I spoke to my healer, he said, I feel like I really have clinical separation anxiety. And she goes, okay, why you diagnosing yourself? Why did you get to that conclusion? We tend to do that, okay? It's a bad habit of everyone to self-diagnose. So we broke it down, and she told me, okay, this is the spectrum of your anxiety. Separation anxiety. Do you feel sad? Do you feel lonely? Do you feel what's that, missing? Like you're missing someone, or do you feel like worried? So it's all these things. And I said, all? And she said, yeah, okay, but identify, what is it really? Where is it stemming from? I said, oh, well, I'm afraid that I'll be alone. So those identifications, you have to make that a habit, because when you go straight to, I'm feeling separation anxiety, I'm feeling anxious, I'm so depressed today, you will manifest that emotion and you will bring yourself there. I felt lonely before my mom called. Before our Zoom, I had my mom call me because I felt so lonely. And that my solution to my loneliness, text my mom, Ma, are you home? Can we talk? Because otherwise, magmumukmuk ako. And then I'll be like, I'm so lonely, I'm in Locken, I'm at work, and I hate this. Why is it like this? Why is work so difficult? Tapos yung work ko, titignan ko na ng masama. And then that becomes a behavioral habit too, So it's a domino effect. A routine habit is kind of the same, but have an established routine for yourself when you get up and before you go to bed, so that throughout the day you can get those sparks of moments of having a habit of finding solutions or naming your emotions and self-regulating or self-soothing. So I learned, may mga nanonood ng It's Okay Not to Be Okay. I just learned this self-soothing the other day. And oh my gosh, it's hugging yourself and counting to 3 before you do anything stupid, say anything mean. Whew. So those are my habits that make me feel better and that allow me to approach things in a better mindset as well.
Wow. So what I got from that is really movement. You have to move. Because if you're not moving, diba, if your habit is just nakahiga ka lang, nakahilata ka lang, you won't, all of these thoughts will come in.
Yes. Ang sabi nga ng dati kong manager, well, she's still my manager, but, we're transitioning. So, I call her mama. So, sabi niya, wag na wag mong tatambayan. Daanan mo lang. Diba?
Daanan mo lang. Tama.
So,
and then, of course, importante din yung mga self-talk. I like what you're saying, to identify. At never to self-diagnose. That's important. Because uso ngayon yung mga nagsiself-diagnose.
Okay. Wag kayong pupunta sa WebMD.
Ano yung WebMD?
It's like this online website for mga diagnosis of different, like, not just psychological or related to mental health, but also any sickness. Wag magsa-self-diagnose, diba? Ay, may lagnat. Ay, may lagnat, kaya naman nating ma-self-diagnose yan. But, anything else, ay, yung appendix ko, yung ganyan. Pa-check natin yan, guys. Tulad ng brains natin, diba?
Yeah, lalo na ang mental and emotional state, do not self-diagnose. Kasi pag nag-self-diagnose ka, dun magsa-start yung self-pity, dun magsa-start yung mga dramas, more dramas in life.
Self-sabotage, diba?
Yan, self-sabotage, dun din nagsa-start. That's right. So, now we have questions from IG. Ayan, mga fans from the fans. Let's start with Flor Heramis. Sabi niya, what's the best way to cope with stress and depression?
Depression, the way I coped with it was, speaking to a professional. But if you don't have that option, friends and family will help a lot. And if you're able to actually medyo may dating yung confront sa sarili mo muna and then outwards. Then work through it. Took me 10 years, so you can take as long as you want. Just don't give up on yourself. And when you're stressed, you have to make time for yourself. You have to either breathe. If you only have 5 minutes, breathe. Learn breathing techniques. If you have more than 5 minutes, do something you love, you enjoy doing.
Ayun. Thank you for highlighting to do something that they love. Because minsan, they just people forget to do that because they keep giving themselves to others. What others want to see from them, diba? That they forget yung kanila.
Yeah, and who's gonna take care of you, diba? Ikaw lang.
Tama. So yan, Kyla Nicole. How will you know if you have anxiety?
If you're looking at it clinically, I would talk to a professional. If you're really, really worried that it's uncontrollable. Anxiety kasi, diba, it's when you can't stop worrying about the outcome, what's gonna happen, how it's gonna happen, where it's gonna go. That's your anxiety working. And it's always questioning, it's feeling unsettled all the time. So if you feel that way too much and it's disrupting your life every day, I would say maybe you need to find someone that can help you diagnose that anxiety, because we have to be careful about self-diagnosing. And I think when I was 18 and I got diagnosed with mild anxiety, I didn't know what it was. I said I'm depressed. That's all I know. I'm depressed. I'm so depressed, which was true, but I didn't know I was also dealing with anxiety, and that was causing my depression to be worse. So, yun. Or I'm sure there are online consultancies that you can find. May mga psychiatrists or psychologists that I know, they often hold like consultations online, or at least dialogues. So if you can seek these platforms, it will be wonderful. Or even a consultation, mga free consultations. I'm sure they can, they can, what do you call it, accommodate that.
Yeah, tama. I like what you're saying to number one, never self-diagnose. Number two, if you have all of these, ano bang tawag mo dyan? Symptoms? Should I call it symptoms? Okay, if you have these symptoms, then find a psychiatrist that you can talk to. Right? Right?
Yeah. Ako, the symptoms that I noticed when I felt, when I didn't know I had anxiety, were that I would have loss of appetite. When I would eat, I would feel like vomiting. I always had a headache. I had a migraine all the time. My shoulder blades ba tawag dyan? Always in pain. Always. Kahit na maganda. Wow, feeling magandang posture. Kahit tuwid naman yung posture ko, or hindi mabigat yung backpack ko, it was always in pain. So your internal pain also physically manifests, and this is real. My psychologist told me I had psychosomatic disorder at that time, which is a part of my anxiety. So I don't see like, oh, I have this. No. I see it all as one. And I just know I have to parang, okay, so ito yung ingredients, pero magkakasama lang sila, ganon. And those ingredients are part of your brain. So you have to, you have to take notice.
And I think,
also.
what I like about you and your journey is that hindi siya something to be ashamed of, but you're proud that you're working on it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so proud. Because I know the weight or trouble na na-cause pa sa mga tao around me before because of my struggle with my journey. So now I'm enjoying it, and I'm loving and embracing it. Really.
No shame around it. Yun. Next question from Sammy Ragas. How to schedule a breakdown? May ganun ba? Nung nabasa ko yung question, sabi ko, pwede ba yun? I-schedule mo yung breakdown mo. Bukas iiyak ako Ganon. Ganon ka ba? I mean, you're in the artista industry, no? Yung industry mo, scheduled lahat. So, I don't know if this is something that you do, scheduling your breakdown.
No, I don't. But for example, yun nga, you have no choice. But kunwari bago ka tumawag yan, gusto kong umiyak. Tapos, si mama, ang dami ng problema ni mama. Kunwari, yun yung nangyayari. Tapos I'm like, shoot, si Annie, paano to? Like, okay, tuloy mo na lang later. Tuloy mo na lang. Compose, and that's I think maybe that's what the Sammy is intending to ask with the schedule. Kasi sometimes wala we have to also consider what is in front of us, diba? As much as we are important to ourselves, first and foremost, at the same time, that does not allow us to disrespect our environment or the people around us or any commitments we've had. So, kung kayang 5 minutes, 10 minutes, kung ilan kailangan mo to just catch your breath, to, relax, to maybe write something down to change your mood para lang ma-schedule mo siya for after na nitong Zoom meeting namin ng mga boss ko, magagawa. And then minsan you'll feel like, ay, ayoko na palang umiyak. Parang, okay na pala.
Oo.
Parang ganun.
Oo. Ang ganda nun. Oo nga, no? Because reality check, we have to consider others also. Of course, we are important. We are our top priority. But sometimes, yung mga commitments mo kasi, kailangan mo din, of course, na punan muna before yung iyong breakdown. Another question is, from Nikki Hison, okay lang bang mag-breakdown everyday? Nako.
Nikki, usap tayo. I think naman, Nikki, depending on what you're going through, if it's a big and like unbearable weight, then perhaps your breaking down is you not being able to process it. So you need someone to help you process it. In my scenario, yung 10 years na yon, hindi ako everyday nagbe-breakdown naman. Pero every year, siguradong may isa, dalawa, or maybe 100 times na nag-breakdown ako. So, it's you have to let yourself feel it, but yun nga, kanina sabi namin ni Yani, di ba, wag mong tatambayan. Kasi kung tinambayan mo na, it might blow out of proportion for your own good. I mean, for your own, not for your own good. Na-lost yung English ko doon. Sorry, Nikki. Nag-breakdown yung English ko.
Breakdown na din yung English niya. I like what you said. You need someone to help you. Diba?
Kasi we tend to think we can do things on our own a lot. And ako na lang. But, we all need someone, diba? No man is an island.
Right. And asking for support is okay and normal. And kung everyday na ang breakdown, it means it's something heavy that needs attention na talaga. And you don't want it to manifest pa in your physical body. Diba? Kailangan i-address mo na as fast as you could. Yan. And for our last question, from Jillian Leva, she asked, how do you stop overthinking? So, we mentioned kanina, diba, na we have to keep moving para hindi ka stuck with a lot of things in your head. But, ikaw ba, ako kasi overthinker din ako eh. And sometimes, living in the moment, or being present, stops me from, overthinking things. Alam mo yun? Ikaw, what's your practice? How do you stop overthinking?
Okay, so I struggle with living in the moment. I struggle a lot with that. Kaya nga may anxiety and depression, diba? Na naramdaman, I'm always in the past or the future. So now I think I'm starting to live in the moment. And your overthinking, I wouldn't say never really stops. I think every human being will always have the tendency to do that. Why? Because we love the people around us and we always want to ensure that they love us back and that we're not doing them wrong and that, we're doing things right. We're at that day and age also with the access to all these technologies and whatever gadgets. So the overthinking is faster. It's much more prominent. So you have to remember, like, for example, may di lang mag-reply. Oh my gosh. Diba? Like, ako, I feel like, oh my God, di ako nag-reply. Yani, don't hate me. Andun na ako sa, baka mamaya, she's so upset na, and ganyan. But you know what? I'm not gonna let myself think that way, na Yani is upset, or tampo, or galit, or I'm gonna test the waters. oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Da, da, da." I'll address it. I'll see what's up, and you know, at least I won't be thinking in my head, oh my God, di pala ako nag-reply 1 week na. Tapos, what good does that do you? At least, kung matanong mo yung tao, di ba? Kung i-message mo yung tao the same way I did you, then at least I can see, okay. Okay lang naman pala kami. And she's okay. She's not bothered that I'm not able to do that. So why let yourself overthink? If it's something graver naman, no, something a bit more, siguro something happened between you and your boyfriend, or you're thinking that your boyfriend or your girlfriend is not into you anymore, may iba na or whatever. Again, same thing. Conversation. Ask that person, and it will only show you naman where you're both at and where you can go towards after. Kasi yun nga. Siguro the overthinking is also a manifestation of fear in asking or intimidation. But if you can't bring yourself to addressing it, write it down, and then write your solutions to those overthinking thoughts. Let's say, oh my gosh, I think my boyfriend is cheating on me. I think my boyfriend is texting another girl. Okay, if he's texting another girl, what will I do? I'm gonna ask him. So write your steps down and plan for yourself, because your overthinking is also from worries, and it's also from anxiety of not knowing what's gonna happen. And you can't plan everything.
Yeah. Communicate. Very important. Communicate. Write your steps. Yan ang natutunan ko ngayon. Write your steps, diba? Because minsan parang, pag ginawa ko, diba, pag nasa utak mo lang yan, hindi mo yan magagawa or di mo mabibigyan ng action. But if you write your steps, you will actually start, your mind will actually start to think na, I have to do something around what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And being kind to yourself, you have to be kind to yourself by actually taking actions. And not just letting it in your head, diba?
Oo, wag mong isuppress sa head mo yan. Kasi, if I may recommend to all the listeners and the viewers to please watch It's Okay to Not Be Okay on Netflix. Kasi, it addresses all different types of mental illnesses. And oh my gosh, it's amazing the way they tell the story, the way they educate us about the different types. And there's a quote there, not verbatim, but it said, if you're not able to overcome kasi itong mga pinagdadaanan mo ngayon, then you'll forever stay you'll forever stay a kid. You won't grow up. So we want to grow up, we want to live life, appreciate it. So we have to find ways in which we are comfortable to overcome these things, and sometimes uncomfortable as well, because that's the only route left. You might have tried all of the comfortable ways, pero may isa pang or dalawa pang natitira na hindi mo natatry dahil it's not comfortable for you. That's gonna be the solution.
May nabasa ako, I think the other day, if not the other day, yesterday, na yung comfort zone daw, it's either, it's either you're uncomfortable because you're in your comfort zone. Diba?
Yeah. Para siyang naging, I want to say bad reflex, but it's just a reflex. It's just a reflex na nakasanayan. So, you can add new reflexes and look for new reflexes. You can get muscle, build muscle, girl or boy or any whatever, diba? Go LGBTQ.
Tama, tignan nyo si Jasmine, meron ng abs at muscles. I like it. You're so toned and you're really making time for your physical health more than your mental health. And I'm so happy conversation, and I hope we help a lot of people again to get through, and hopefully itong episode na to maraming matulungan na tao, no? Jasmine, any last words for people who are struggling with their mental health, especially yung mga nasa quarter life crisis ngayon?
Okay, sa mga nagka-quarter life crisis ngayon, firstly, don't worry. Ako nga, 21 ko yung pinagdaanan. At 21 ang aga, diba? My sister was laughing at me. But, you know what? Take it with pride, because whatever you're going through now will actually bring you to bliss. And, you know, you'll get there. It's gonna be tiring, and it's gonna be frustrating sometimes, pero talagang you have to keep your alignment with yourself. Ikaw, para sa sarili mo to. And kapag, yun nga, diba, you can't give love if you don't have any for yourself. So, may seem cliche, pero talagang ganun siya eh. It's a domino effect. If you can't be kind to yourself, if you can't love yourself, it will be harder to share it with others. It will be harder to be kind to others. So always keep that in mind. And when you forget and when you feel lost, come back to these podcasts, listen to any of them, you know, and I'm sure one of them will just be able to bring you back into who you really are and who you are striving to be. So, wag hayaang ma-stuck ang sarili at tumambay sa isang pwesto, because we are ever evolving.
We are ever evolving, and as humans, we are all evolving. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Is there anything you want to plug? Any shows or
Wow, I think you should promote this show, right? So,
sige, go.
Since I'm in lock-in naman na, this is gonna start soon. To everyone listening and watching, please catch The World Between Us. It'll be airing on GMA sometime soon. I don't know when, but you have myself there, Alden, Tom, Miss Jacqueline, Miss Dina, who else? I think yun pa lang yung alam kong cast. But come join us and come get dramatic with us. Teleserye levels.
Wow, artista levels. Artistang artista. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for making time, and thank you everyone for always listening. This has been Yani, and see you on the next episode.
Once again, this is Coach Yani Moya reminding you to breathe and live your best life every day. Because remember, when you tap into your state of bliss, you unlock limitless possibilities. If you enjoyed this episode, do follow and subscribe for weekly content. You can also follow me on my socials at Coach Yani Moya on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. See you next week!